Hi bowl bakers, my recipes made in minutes have always been a huge hit with you guys, from my 10-minute tiramisu to my 10-minute key lime pie recipe. I have another one to add to the list. I'm going to show you how you can make a coconut cream pie in just 15 minutes. As always, the recipe can be found on biggerbolderbaking.com, and make sure you head over to my website because I've got over 500 recipes over there. Okay, let's get started by toasting off our coconut. So here I have shredded unsweetened coconut, and all you want to do is just scatter that onto your tray. Now, because this is a quick recipe, we kind of have to hustle here, so I'm going to get this into the oven, get it toasting, and then we're going to start on the rest of our pie. So bake your coconut 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius for roughly 5 minutes. It doesn't take that long, you just want to get a light golden brown. So while that's in there toasting away, we're going to multitask. Here I have some ground up graham crackers. You can use digestive biscuits, any kind of a plain cookie that you like. We're going to add that into our bowl. Into our cookie crumbs, of course, we're going to add in some melted butter. This is delicious glue that holds it all together. Then with a spatula, just mix it all together. So that's looking good. What I'm going for is kind of the look and texture of wet sand. That means it's going to hold really well together. So here I have my pie tin. Now I have buttered and lined this with cling wrap, and I'll tell you why I did that. Because I want to be able to get my pie out of the dish afterwards, and you can really easily do that. If you put 2 layers of cling wrap down, you can just yoink it right out. So go ahead and add all your cookies into your pie pan. And then with a spatula or your hand, just go ahead and push the cookie crumb all the way into your tin, creating a nice crust. So this crust is the one I always use. It's 2 cups of cookie crumb and 3/4 of a cup of butter. And I just find it really holds well together, and I use it in all of my pies, just to make sure that it doesn't crack or anything like that. And a lot of you who watch Bigger Bolder Baking know the crust is my favorite part. The crust and the filling. The crust and the filling and the topping, favorite parts. Okay, so pack it in there nice and tight until it's all the way up the sides. Okay, fantastic. This is looking good, it's nice and even. Now what we're going to do is pop this into the fridge, let it set for a few minutes, and we're actually going to take out our coconut because I can smell it. So here's our coconut, looks gorgeous, smells absolutely delicious. I'm such a big fan of coconut. I'm going to set this over to the side and we're going to start making our filling. So here I have a heavy bottom saucepan on the stove. Into this, I'm going to add in some cream. Now for this recipe, you don't have to use a whipping cream. You can use any type of cream that you like. Lovely. And then next we're going to add in some full fat milk. The more fat, the more flavor. Next, we're going to add in a little bit of sugar for sweetness. Next, to thicken our filling, we're going to add in some eggs. Now, I know I always give an egg substitute, but unfortunately for this recipe, there's no substitute for the eggs. They're an important ingredient. And then lastly, to thicken it, I'm going to add in a little bit of flour. Now, if you're gluten-free, you can use cornstarch here, and that will work really well to thicken it. And then all you want to do is just turn it on to a medium heat. And then with a whisk, we're going to stand here and continually stir it until it thickens. Now you want to make sure that you stand here stirring all the time because there's eggs in here, and if you don't stir, they'll overcook. So you just want to make sure it's always moving. So the reason you can make this in just 15 minutes is because it's a no-bake pie. You make the filling on top of the stove, you keep it in the fridge to chill, it's really fast. If you knew that you had guests coming over maybe in the evening, you could whip this up in the morning and it would be ready to go. And I guarantee you they would be impressed. So if you're not familiar with my other limited time recipes, definitely go over to my website and check them out. I've got chocolate mousse on there, crepes, key lime pie, a berry tiramisu, which is out of this world. You're gonna really like them, and they take no time at all. There you go, you see that? It's starting to thicken because of the flour and the eggs in there. And soon enough, it'll start to hold a ribbon shape. Look at that. Perfect. And just remember, this will actually thicken up even more once it's chilled, so it'll be even firmer than this. Okie dokie, now just turn it off the heat and then bring it over to your table, and we're going to add in the rest of the flavors. Into our custard mix, we're going to add in our toasted coconut, a pinch of salt, and our always important vanilla extract. And then just whisk these ingredients in. Now I did reserve a little bit of toasted coconut just to add on top of our pie to make it look really pretty. You can see and smell why the toasted coconut makes such a difference. It turns your little custard at even a darker color, and that toasty, roasty smell of coconut is honestly one of my favorite things. Now, just a little tip, once your custard comes off the heat, if you do happen to see some overcooked egg in there, don't worry. Pass it through a strainer, remove the egg, and you're good to go. It really does smell amazing, and I know I say this a lot, but this is one of my favorite pies, and I'll tell you why. You've got the cookie crust, which is hard and crumbly, then you've got the soft custard in the middle, and then you've got like this creamy, fluffy whipped cream on top. It's just, hands down, one of my favorite things. So that's our filling, super easy. It's still a little bit warm, but don't worry. Right now we're going to transfer this into our cookie crust. As you can see, this is a lot of filling, but that is exactly what we want from our pies. So I didn't lie, like I said, you can make this pie in just 15 minutes. We have our cookie crust and our filling. Now what you want to do is pop this into the fridge and let it cool down completely so it firms up and thickens. While that's in the fridge, let's whip up our cream, get everything ready, so in a little while we can assemble our pie. So I can't even begin to tell you how many questions I get asked about whipped cream. My recipe is cream, just cream. Nothing else, no vanilla, no sugar, no nothing, just good quality cream. So here I have some heavy whipping cream, and this fat will cut the sweetness in the rest of your pie, so that's why I like to keep it plain. You want to have something around 35% fat so it will whip up really well. So here I have an electric hand mixer. By far, I think this is one of my favorite pieces of kitchen equipment. They're really inexpensive and I use it all the time. It's good for when you're making big recipes and small recipes. So just whip this up until you reach soft peaks. You don't want it too firm, you kind of want it billowy. So in Ireland, we're really fortunate to have amazing dairy, and that's what I grew up with. So when you were making whipped cream, you would just whip some cream. You wouldn't add anything to it, nothing to stabilize it, nothing to sweeten it, nothing to change the flavor. The quality is so good and so creamy, you want it just the way it is. So there you go, we have all of our components to make our dessert, our whipped cream to go on top, our filling and our crust. I'm gonna pop this guy into the fridge now, let it cool down and set for a minimum of maybe 2-3 hours or so. You can also make this 2 to 3 days in advance and it will keep perfectly. So it's been a few hours, our pie has firmed up. I've taken it out of the tin and removed the cling wrap because I want to have it on a lovely presentation platter. Into the center of this, I'm gonna pile on my whipped cream. Considering that we made all of our components of the pie earlier on, it takes no time to bring it all together. Now, if you remember me saying I reserved a little bit of coconut from earlier, I have it here. I'm just going to sprinkle it on top of the cream. This just adds extra texture and a different color as well. So there you have it, a coconut cream pie perfect for any occasion, made in just 15 minutes. So I'm going to cut myself a nice big slice. So I had a bit of a hidden agenda here. Like I said, coconut cream pie is one of my favorites. So I was really excited to make this and I'm happy I was able to make it so quickly. See, here's the thing about me and desserts. I'm all about texture. You've got the soft filling, you've got the cream on top, you've got that crunchy cookie base. This for me has everything you want from a big and bold dessert. So now remember, if you make it, rate it on my website. Also upload your photos because I love seeing them. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you back here really soon for more bigger, bolder baking.